Good morning, beautiful people. It's a Jasiri o'clock day on a Friday, and we are here. We made it to the end of this deeply stressful week. But we're very thankful to be here, and we're thankful that you are also on the other side. Now, across the country, the tensions have been heavy, from the kidnapping incidents in Kebbi to the unsettling terrorist invasion in Kwara State. Even in the middle of the chaos, we as Nigerians have continued to be resilient. We have found moments to breathe, to connect, and yes, to even smile. So today, we're going to try, in the time we have, I said try, to touch on the biggest stories, because there's one story I know that we might, if you leave us, we'll talk about it for 2 hours. But we don't have 2 hours today. So we're going to try to touch on some of the biggest stories and share our thoughts with you. So grab your tea, your ogi, your akamu, your moimwen. Some people had moimwen yesterday. So your moimwen, your okpa, your akara, whatever it is, settle in and get ready for a fantastic show on Jasiri. It is a hot topic special, and we do have someone who's near and dear to our heart today.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Lolo.
Our guest today, they said she's vibrant. She is vibrant in color. She's slight in frame, but she's fearless.
I did not write slight in frame in the script, Auntie.
Slight in frame slight.
I understand. Yeah. Continue.
And she lights up every room or every screen that she steps on. She isn't just an entertainment anchor. She's one of the sparkling hosts of the brand new show, Take 3 on News Central, bringing charisma, wit, and energy to everything that she does. So, roll the montage. Let's meet this beautiful girl.
Kate Adeogun, welcome to Jasiri! This is how they welcome their guests on Take 3. So, a round of applause.
When you say Kate Adeogun, who does she remind you of? Eno Adeogun.
Oh! Ginger's wife. Yeah. We have a friend from way back. Yes.
Inside joke. I get it now. You look very beautiful, by the way.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Royal, matching the colors.
You know, when she entered the makeup room today, she was just so beautiful. Her skin was popping. I was like, oh, I've never seen you before. Then this bombshell walks into the studio. I'm like, who are you?
It's me. It's me.
And I love her earrings. I think you have a thing for earrings.
Yes, I do.
Because I've been noticing it on the show.
Thank you.
Like the earrings she wore yesterday. You guys had an interview with who?
Tiki's Oluwatosin.
See, them. So sad.
Yes, and it was a wholesome experience. We had fun.
Wholesome entertainment. All right, so Cass, before we dive into our conversations, because there's a lot of them, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into broadcast?
Okay, well, my dad was a journalist, was a media person, print, basically. So most times when I was very young, I think from the age of 7, 8, I would read the newspapers to him. He insists that I do that all the time, early in the morning when the newspaper person brings the newspapers to the house. So we would read the news together. He would explain some things to me. Of course, I didn't understand most things because I'm like, why is this happening? Why is, Sonia Abacha and everybody, what's going on here? He would explain some things to me. So I got interested. I didn't want to do print, by the way. I just wanted to talk on air, on radio, on TV and whatnot. And I decided to study mass communication in school. And I went for my internship at Radio Nigeria, FRCN in Ibadan. Okay. I also went to Splash FM, for my internship, and then I got retained there, and that's how it all started.
That's how it all starts.
Radio Nigeria alumni.
I mean, Take 3 is taking off. Yes. I've seen the montage. I've seen clips of it. We've also watched episodes of it. And it's very exciting, by the way. The montage is so locked. I said, yes, I love that. So give us a breakdown for those who've never seen Take 3. What happens, on the show? And, what's your favorite part of everything?
I think everything is my favorite part on that show, right? Like the name implies, it's Take 3. So 3 anchors, 3 perspectives, everything is in threes. We have our topics, which is in 3 as well. We talk about trending issues, some stories of interest, as much as we can, bring our own perspective into it. And I think that makes it fun. But of course, we also have the entertainment news, which begins the show, and that is like keeping people abreast of the happenings in the world of entertainment.
Right.
You know, you want to know what's going on, and we are there to give you the juiciest, the trendiest, the wildest, everything in the world of entertainment, which makes it interesting. And we also bring our guests on the show. Just like yesterday, we had Tiki's, the guy who sang Uluwatu saying it was an amazing experience. It was interesting. There were some things that we found out that we didn't know.
They now try to be backup singers.
Yes.
I have the video. I have the video evidence. They try to be backup singers. In my head, I was like, I'm thinking somebody needs to hold their ear and hear their tone.
I laugh because of them. When it comes to music, the best of Tolu is in the voice. I just let out.
But Judy, we have something coming out. Me and Judy did
You should see what the girls. It's like you think that Tolu has no work. She and Judy, these two serious anchors, director of program, she started doing challenge.
Come on,
You know, when Tolu does this challenge once in 6 months, she makes such a big deal of it for
because I only do one in 6 months.
That's interesting.
And they wanted me to come and be saying something beast to the B. I wish my can be amplified. Anyway, ladies, thank you. We're so happy to have you, Kate, and I'm sure you're gonna.
Wait. You've told us about, but in 2 weeks now, Abby.
Yes.
It's been about 2 weeks. What's your I won't say favorite story, but what's the story that stuck with you that you guys have taken on Take 3?
I think it has to be the Regina Daniels and Ned Nwoko story. Like, it's been back to back. Every week we talk about, like every day in the week we talk about it, and it's tiring, it's exhausting because there's a whole lot going on. There's a whole lot of drama. You know, today there's something else, tomorrow there's something else, the next day there's something else. And I'm like, okay, when are we going to rest on this particular issue?
And
so
then I think also it's the number of people who are who have something to say about it.
Yes.
I know you guys wanted to take the AGM president, but because of the lives we had yesterday.
Yeah.
So you guys do gossips? I like gossips.
Take 3.
Stuff that.
You should be a guest for them one day.
Yes.
I get to dress Jasiri. I'll pack my hair.
You dress like
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah,
We look forward
so
to it.
everything I say, oh girls, clock it.
Wait, is it this finger or this finger?
It's the two.
It's the club.
Another meaning. Maybe we'll find out later.
If you haven't been watching Take 3, imagine this beautiful, amazing, intelligent girl on the show. You need to stay locked. On News Central, everything is a big topic.
Please, everybody should just breathe now because where we're going. Just breathe.
Wow. Okay, ladies.
Let's go.
Let's get into our stories. A lot of things have happened this week, and we made sure to bring all the details as they unfolded right here on Jasiri.
Absolutely.
After our show on Wednesday, it was announced that President Tinubu was postponing his trip to the G20 event in South Africa. They listened. In a statement from Bayo Ononuga, Tinubu's special advisor on information and strategy, the president was, in quotes, disturbed by the security breaches in Kebbi State and the Tuesday's attack by bandits against worshippers at Christ Apostolic Church, Eruku. President Tinubu decided to suspend his departure. He now awaits reports from Vice President Kashim Shettima, who paid a sympathy visit to Kebbi on his behalf, as well as reports from the police and the Department of State Services regarding the attack in Kwara. In quotes, the statement also mentioned that in response to the request by the governor of Kwara State, President Tinubu has ordered the deployment of more security men to Eruku and the entire Ekiti local government area of the state. And he also directed the police to go after the bandits who attacked the worshippers.
Vice President Kashim Shettima was in Kebbi on Wednesday to meet the governor and religious and traditional leaders. Now speaking in Burning Kebbi, he assured families of the abducted schoolgirls as well as the families of the late Brigadier General Musa Uba and the late vice principal of the school that the president was deeply troubled by the tragic incident. He vowed that the government will deploy all instruments of the state to rescue the school children and ensure their abductors and the killers of the gallant military general and the vice principal are made to face the full weight of justice. Let's listen.
When one child is taken, every home in this nation grieves. When young girls in the safety of their classroom are seized by criminals, our collective conscience is assaulted. And he has sent me to assure you that this is not a moment for politics. This grief transcends party lines, geography, and identity.
Also on Wednesday, a Nigerian delegation led by the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu, NSA, and the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Bianca Ojukwu, met with the U.S. Congressman Riley Moore to have what Moore described as a frank, honest, and productive discussion about the ongoing persecution of Christians and ongoing terrorist threats in Nigeria and opportunities for strengthened cooperation and coordination between the United States and Nigeria to end the bloodshed. During the meeting, Nigerian officials shared their government's challenges and concerns regarding counterterrorism, security assistance, protection of vulnerable communities, and the ongoing issues involving violence across Nigeria. Others in the delegation included the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, and several others.
Now, there's an update to this, and it happened on Thursday as the President Bola Tinubu directed that the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawalle, to relocate to Kebbi State over the abduction of 24 schoolgirls in the state. Matawalle, who was formerly governor of Zamfara State, was asked to remain in the state to monitor security efforts to ensure or secure the release of the abducted students. And now, this morning, we're hearing that armed bandits have reportedly abducted an unspecified number of students and staff from St. Mary's School in Papiri, which is located in Kwara local government area of Niger State. Now, confirming the incident in a telephone interview, the head of disaster and relief for Kwara local government area, Ahmed Abdullahi Rufia, I beg your pardon, revealed that the attackers invaded the school in the early hours of the morning between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. And he also noted that the exact number of abducted students and staff is yet to be determined as authorities continue to assess the situation. And it is dire.
Wow.
So that was what we heard before the show, but now we're hearing that the number is around 52.
Honestly, this is just, I don't know. The latest abduction comes just days after a similar attack in Maga, Kebbi State, where gunmen kidnapped 25 students from another school, raising fresh concerns over the worsening insecurity across educational institutions in the region. Let's see how Nigerians are taking the government's response to these tragic events.
This is a response to the president directing that the Minister of State go to Kebbi. To do what? He can't do anything. Why not send Chief of Defense Staff? Hello, your Chief of Defense Staff is in the U.S. defending Nigeria's integrity. Send the Chief of Defense Staff, Air Force, Naval, or Army, but the minister doesn't have the capability to handle this sensitive assignment. Who else do we have responding to us? Doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Didn't Buhari also order his CAS to do the same thing? A total cluelessness on how to solve the problem. Matawalle moving to Kebbi does not in any way add to the solution. He can be briefed and supervise the operations from Abuja. Alhaji Bello Matawalle is undoubtedly the best person for this assignment. His experience as governor of Zamfara State, where he effectively tackled banditry and secured the release of numerous kidnapped individuals, makes him the ideal candidate to lead the efforts to bring back the Kebbi girls. Why can't he go there? Isn't he the commander-in-chief? Let him lead from the front for once. I wager that he'll go there for election campaign. How do you expect citizens to trust a president that can't even be bothered to visit victims on the ground? The president has the security, the resources, and the responsibility to stand with those families, to look them in the eye, and to show them that their pain matters. The abduction was on Monday first. Matawalle needed to be instructed to go to Kebbi, and secondly, he will arrive there 5 days after on Friday. This is not governance. Shaking my head. There are a lot more reactions, especially now that we're hearing news of another abduction. But Kate, I want us to look at some of the things, because I know yesterday you guys wanted to talk about celebrity reactions.
Yes.
Because there are a number of celebrities. Fowles has spoken out. Mr. Macaroni is speaking out. I believe Funke Akindele is speaking out.
Yes.
What are the celebrities saying?
I mean, they are upset about the spate of insecurity right now in the country, and it's an outcry from all of them, from Davido. I think Davido also did a 1-minute silence for the people who lost their lives in a recent concert, I think yesterday evening as well. And it's so sad to see. Funke Akindele also reacted. She said she wept when she saw the video, the church video, the CSC woman in Kwara State, especially with the old woman who was struggling to walk, and you know. So those are some of their reactions. They're upset about it. They are sad that these things are happening and seeking accountability from the government. So what are you guys going to do? Right. And it's just like a tweet said that we read right now. What is Matawale going to do in that place? You know, he's deployed there. What is he going to do? Is it going to increase the chances of rescuing these people who are abducted? You know?
So now we have heard officially from the police in Niger States, according to a statement by the Niger State Police Public Relations Officer, SPWA Abiodun, the incident occurred around 2 a.m. From Thursday night into Friday morning. And police, tactical units, military personnel, and other security agents have been deployed in the area and are combing the surrounding forest in a bid to safely rescue the kidnapped students. Now, they said that some armed bandits invaded St. Mary's private Catholic secondary school and abducted a yet as to be ascertained number, but we're hearing the number may be around 52. What else? I'm just trying to quickly go through it. They have the Commissioner of Police's commitment to rescue the students unhurt and appeal to the members of the public to remain calm and support security operations to rescue the students.
So now how are we supposed to remain calm? I do not understand what they mean by remain calm. What are we saying? We're talking about the lives of students, children, people's children. And they will just come, take them out of their beds. That's in the early hours of the morning. It's not even morning. And if I'm not even a security agent, I know that this is like a calculated, this is something that is like a planned thing to destabilize the country. And they can see it from an outsider point of view that this is something that they are doing deliberately, intentionally, wanting to cripple us, and they are allowing it.
Right.
And I'm just wondering that even as the president has come back, everybody should be running helter-skelter. This is not something we're just supposed to take with kid gloves and just allow everybody, okay, so what's happening? When is this going? This is like a state of emergency on our security situation in Nigeria.
They're doing everything. It's like throwing the kitchen sink at the problem instead of, looking for a fire extinguisher, right? And I will say this. If you look at yesterday, we found out that Maga, where the government secondary school was located at, was 7 hours from Kebbi, which is the capital of Kebbi State. Now, I'm certain if you go find where the school is at in Agwara, it is most likely another area that is far away from the capital and most likely ungoverned or
ungoverned spaces.
Ungoverned spaces. And so what happens in those spaces is simply that the security is not as intense or as equipped or manned as it ought to in terms of personnel, in terms of infrastructure, and all of that. And I said this yesterday, that we have seen giving precedence. When you find when one case has happened, it emboldens the others.
Oh, yes.
And very soon you start to see a plethora of this type of cases. So in years that have happened since 2014, 2015, 11 years ago, all these schools should either close down around that time. I mean, we're getting into Christmas. You can stop it now, get everyone back home, get all the teachers back home, identify those schools that are in porous areas or insecure zones, and find a way where you can either increase security within the parameters of those schools or increase manpower. But again, we don't do that. Our education sector, as we rightfully said, is worsening. But what even was disheartening are areas where we are tackling with out-of-school children. We're trying to bring down the numbers, and they're being used as pawns of this insecurity issues, and most importantly, politicized for political gains.
So let's not also forget that yesterday, the U.S. Congress, there was a subcommittee hearing at the U.S. Congress about the Nigeria issue. And there are a number of witnesses who spoke. There was a woman who lost 4 children in the Yelawate situation, and she has a new baby.
Yes.
And there's a part of this, I'm looking at social media now, I'm just getting goosebumps, and there's just,
It's too much.
it's too much.
It's been
too
overwhelming
much.
since yesterday.
We need to confront whatever it is. And I agree with you. And I'm starting to, initially I was sort of like, okay, conspiracy theorists. But there's, I feel now that there's
what
actually a
Judith
plan.
said is just true.
That
Tolu.
this whole Christian genocide narrative and these attacks and these kidnappings are connected. There is a larger plan.
There has to
at
be a
play
logical connection.
that has something to do with someone controlling that. Let's take a break. And I'll say that we take a break. There's another story, and I just don't want to. Let's take a break, guys.
Welcome back. You're still with us on Jasiri, and today the stories are hard-hitting and very emotional and heart-wrenching. Everywhere you look, you're just facing higher insecurities all over. We've just broken another set of students. And tentatively, we do not even have the exact number. About 51 is being
around
50 something are said to have been kidnapped again in the early hours of Thursday into Friday, I want to believe. And it's become too much. It's a lot for us to handle as a people. Now I'm beginning to think that this is like a planned, orchestrated attack that the military, all our security agencies are supposed to sit down and plot a graph of what similarities. We watch crime stories all the time, and they will sit down and say, okay, what do these have in common? So that they are able to draw some inferences and some conclusions to be able to make projections on what can happen. But when we don't have such people, everybody is just acting as if this is not something serious. These are the 25 students. These are 25 families. And that is if one family do not have more than one child.
Yes, there was a man who had one daughter was I guess she wasn't taken, and one was taken.
Imagine that. So that means 25 families are in pain.
23, remember that two of them
escaped.
Yes.
Even the ones that escaped, do you know the trauma those children
are we going to sit on this table and not talk about the fact that we understand that many of these girls are right now probably being raped, sexually molested? Let's call it what it is. Because we can't sit here and just make it sound like these are just abductions, that they're just kidnappings. Often used for leverage against the government to get money, but it's not like you leave the victims untouched. Especially as being young girls.
Right.
Many of them are likely to be virgins. You're picking them up and they're going to be raped. There are situations in which young girls end up pregnant and then they come back to communities and they're ostracized.
Yes,
through no action of their own. So, when we were talking on Wednesday, we said, what is the president going to do in G20? What does it do for us? And he postponed his movement to G20. I'm wondering as of right now, what did that gain us? Because if it's that you want to direct Matawale to go, you tell the governor, you tell Vice President to go. Really, in all honesty, could have done that from G20. What did we gain from the president actually and eventually now postponing his trip?
Let me say this, right? And I will say this, and I hopefully I won't mince words, mince words, because my father has sent me text message again. So,
Daddy, we're trying, bear with us.
Yesterday, during the U.S. Congress hearing on whether the claims of Christian genocide, a lot of reactions that followed that hearing on social media, on X, was, why is our National Assembly not doing exactly the same thing? Right?
Valid question.
That's one. When we're talking about insecurity as well, we keep asking, but this has happened before. Why have we not learned from our past? And I'll tell you why. And I have a theory. Hopefully it would answer this obvious question, right? And that is, there is no motivation, empathy, or will to do the right thing for the people, by the people, as democracy ensues. That's what it is. Your presidency, as well as the arms of government that are supposed
Judicial,
to check and
yes,
balance
legal.
the presidency have all become the boys' club, the cool kids.
It's become almost captured.
Complicit.
Captured, where the only thing they know how to do is wear the infinity cap. They are now bands of the armies of the infinity, if you know, if so to speak, and they chant, "On your mandate we shall stand." To the point where there's now an ensemble by a national band that can sing, that can play it,
Almost like
with
the national
drums.
anthem.
Just like
Like
it
the
sounds so similar. To the untrained ear, it might sound like it's the Nigerian national anthem. And so that's what we're looking at. Whether or not the principal of the country or the number one citizen of the country chooses to not attend and absent, the fact that you thought to attend in the beginning is red flag already. Because this same person was the most vocal voice of opposition when 11 years ago the Chibok girls were captured. There are tweets resurfacing.
Yes.
On social media, a person saying, "But you asked this man to resign. Why haven't you handed in your resignation?
Yeah.
Why are there no heads on the chopping block?"
Yeah.
And it's just simple. There is no will to lead the people. There is no empathy. And at the end of the day, it's just the cool kids.
I want to flip this. I understand no will. But I think the lack of will comes from a lack of accountability. And I want to ask Kate. So we have celebrities speaking out.
Yes.
Right.
We have ordinary Nigerians speaking out. We have Jasiri and shows like us speaking out. We have news people covering it. It is not something anybody can hide from. Do you think it's because they don't fear us? Our politicians they're not afraid of what the capacity of the Nigerian people
Yeah, they don't
is.
give a hoot. That's the thing. So they have like this deaf tone silence right now with regards to this situation. That's what I think. Because just like you mentioned, the resign thingy that he tweeted then, years ago. Fowles brought it back as well.
Yes.
That was what Fowles said. I resign now. Like it was literally screaming at him that resign now. So
it's so easy.
Do you know when he finally put out a statement regarding the 25 girls that was kidnapped?
After all the noise.
After all the noise.
Yes.
After all the noise. I'm just thinking that, okay, these sets of people that stay in the houses that make the laws, that are supposed to know better, I have seen them being so excessively proactive when they wanted to bring a woman to order. Like this is he went beyond the law. He entered into personal spaces where it was a matter of disrespect.
Right.
And we saw them moving with action and alacrity.
But
now that we
That was the word I was looking for. Alacrity.
Now that we have a dire situation in our hands, everybody's clueless. And you're not wondering that what are they sitting down there doing exactly?
Chopping the money.
What are they thinking? Are we not supposed to be meeting on a daily basis? Our Senate, the houses of representatives, they are supposed to be looking for solutions.
Yes.
Is it until the country implodes in itself, which is why we wake up?
Which is why what I have some news we have to break, which is why what Judith said is so important. If you sat down and you listened to that congressional hearing, you heard from experts in this, you heard from victims. And as she said, when we get to it, when it comes to our turn, when's the last time we had any form of National Assembly hearing? You will do power and go for ministers. It will now become time for them to maybe do whatever job it is our ministers do, and we don't get anything from it. You have a Senate president who has a litany of careless comments made while he's sitting in a position as the third person here in this country. Have we heard from the National Assembly? Have we heard from the Senate President? Have we heard from the leader of the House of Representatives? And you're urging Nigerians, you're urging people in Kebbi, you're urging people in Kwara, you're urging people in Osun to be calm. Where's the calmness?
And let me just say this. When during the screenings of every appointee that was appointed by the president to come on, it was a clear indication for all Nigerians to let you know where their minds lie. When Dame Ojukubianka, you were so enthralled by that woman's speech. You took us to ask about her qualifications. Of course, we know she's.
And she's one of the delegation that goes to the U.S. to be defending Nigeria.
And same goes for the INEC chairman. When it comes to the right things to do, it's free for all. Just relax. You're at the beer parlor. You are at the lounge, the midday lounge, But let me just digress from here and say this, right? As we're looking at the insecurity issues and all of that we're looking at, whether Christian genocides, all sides, we're looking at this. One also has to talk about the security agencies as well and put them to the fore. And also ask why there's no concerted efforts from all arms, whether it's the National Assembly, whether it's the House of Representatives, whether it's the presidency themselves, to call the service chiefs to ask them, how can we do to make you better? This appointment by Matawale to relocating him back to Kebbi, I remember barely 6 months ago, when Benue happened and also Jos happened, who did they move to the capital of Benue at the time before after Yelwata happened? But immediately after, another attack also did happen. Meanwhile, he was supposed to be situated in Makurdi, the capital. And so I'm saying this, that as we're talking about accountability, we need to bring because I feel like they've been fighting a decade-long war. A decade-long war against insurgents, armed bandits, herdsmen, armed herdsmen, as well as Boko Haram, and now Lokarawa, and not to forget
You know what I don't even know?
If you cannot, as the presidency, as the National Assembly,
as a government,
call your service chiefs and say, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? And where do you think we should move?
Who is accountable? You are asking serious questions. How many of them are willing to ask the questions? Or do you think any of them has any answers? Or anybody is willing to ask them? They are just going to go before the president. The same thing that we have always seen them do. They will take photographs. We'll see them on ground visiting. And that is where it all ends. Then you hear Operation Snake in the Monkey Shadow, Operation Dragon Feet. And that is all we get to hear. You cannot tell me that the tactics that these bandits and terrorists are using has changed. It's not like, oh, they started kidnapping with helicopter. Before they didn't use, they still go
the same way.
Target girls' schools, target schools in similar areas. Even if I am not a security-minded person, it is just logical.
The AI has
logical.
Extremely, like the technology that is at the tool of a miscreant on social media, of a netizen, is wild what they can do with social media.
A young child can fly a drone.
So I am very intrigued as to why our own military have not been able to sit down and use all of the technology that is available to be able to either one, look at the porous areas, two, understand where, because the bandits are on TikTok. They're on social media. They are showing that
the money that they've gotten from kidnapping and killing people.
A random kid on social, you can tell him, just take a picture and say outside, you'll be like, where I am. That child, that teenager on social media will find where you are at. So it is interesting to me how, with all of people are going to employ more people, they deploy, employ. Meanwhile, you can use that, and they are showing you where they are.
Exactly.
So I want us to have situations where we move beyond numbers. These are the names of the girls who were kidnapped in Kebbi State. And apparently we'll soon have names of those kidnapped from the school in...
Look at those two. There's two Zimri. Did you see
there's going to be more situations and more than one or two siblings.
Once the same...
25. Can we also look at Amina ages?
Awa, Ilyasu, junior secondary school, two children who are bearing the same surname.
Wow. Go back to
there's another one. I saw another name that has two. Look at Zimri, Fatima Sani Zimri, and then Salima Sani Zimri.
There's Umar.
There's Umar. There's another Ilyasu here.
But let us not assume. But I know for sure I heard one father who had two kids, and I suspect there should definitely be more. But these are not just numbers. These are children. These are young girls who had a dream in a society and in a situation that is already dangerous. Do you know that being born into Nigeria is already something that counts against you? And being born into Nigeria and being born a girl in Nigeria, it's not me saying that, it's the data that tells us that. That being a girl born into this country is actually a disadvantage and dangerous to your health.
Just like Judith was saying, we're still fighting the fact that we want more girls in school. So all this is happening. Do you think any right-thinking parents in these areas will want their children to go to school?
So
how would you send them to school?
You achieved many things. I was coming in this morning, I was listening to radio, and somebody was asking about proactive and reactive measures. And Judith, you were talking about shutting the schools. I understand it as a proactive measure to forestall, but I also understand it as a reactive measure. And then in the long run, it also gives them what they want. You limit the number of schools available. You limit the number of girls. You limit the number of boys going to school. And at the end of the day, you talked about a decade in which not just Boko Haram has sprung up, but other offshoots. And though now we don't even know who is who. Because even who kidnapped the girls in Kebbi, who's doing what is happening in Kwara,
nobody has taken responsibility.
So at the end of the day, we have become so good at reacting, and even then our reactions are quite limited. They are many times unsuccessful. Leah Shaibu is an example. We are over a decade away from Bring Back Our Girls, and we are revitalizing that hashtag because we need to ask for Bring Back Kebbi Girls. We now need to ask for Bring Back the girls that were taken this morning. So where is the proactiveness? And I think I'll have to say this. In recent times, the military has been, we've been hearing things from military hierarchy asking the media to make sure we tell the true story, and I can't tell you how deeply that thing gets under my skin. Because the truth of what Nigerians are facing is what the media is saying. Please, and please. Because it feels like a way in which they're couching to kindly ask us to be a little bit wary in the numbers we share, in the stories we share, so that they don't just look so bad.
When they are complicit in their job.
Thank you. Tolu, I adore you for saying this, right? And also, you know that you are by far one of the biggest people I look up to in this industry. You are a director, not just on television, but on radio, but on new media as well. And so you know more than ever how NBC clamps down on media. If you mistakenly do anything or speak about the Civil War, about Biafra in a certain
I was there on Nigeria Info. I will always remember. We were having a conversation. They called us and they shut the conversation down. It is in history.
So you know this thing. You know this thing. So when we're now seeing, when during the elections, as you're getting into campaign season, tribal undertones will start to spring up. NBC and the NOA will be mute. We will not see any directive from them to television and radio stations across the country to say, hey, look, we're seeing this as a sign. We need you to amplify on bringing down the tempers regarding tribal slurs. We don't see that. But let it be certain attacks. You will now hear.
Let me quote. We have. I don't know if we have the story, but one of our correspondents covered it recently, and it was the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, who called on journalists to remain professional and ethical in reporting of military activities with a focus on national security, integration, and cohesion. He made this known during the Army's 2025 fourth quarter media chats with the theme, the Nigerian security environment, the role of strategic communication in strengthening civil-military relations.
No, they're doing that now.
Take it as you will.
I'm so glad. But let elections start and they now do Igbo versus Yoruba. You will not hear one secular.
I find it very interesting that they write this beautifully well-written speeches when it is about mundane things. But when it comes to serious matters, where their intelligence and their forthrightness is supposed to come to fore, then you will find it absent.
Can I make a connection to the story we covered extensively yesterday? We need to take a break. We covered the Nnamdi Kanu judgment and sentencing yesterday. And let's not forget that in Kenya, there is still an investigation as to how Nigeria...
Expatriated?
You said expatriated.
No, I don't want to use the words.
How Nigeria entered Kenya and was able to remove Nnamdi Kanu back to Nigeria. There's capabilities.
Yes.
So many people have come out to say that the Nigerian security agencies have been infiltrated. That even there are traitors within the Nigerian army. This is on record from a number of people. Where do we start from?
That's so
Where
dangerous.
do we start from? We had 25 girls kidnapped overnight Sunday into Monday morning.
They have the intelligence.
They're still looking for them. And I don't believe that these guys can disappear into thin air.
At all.
And this morning we wake up and we hear that more girls have been kidnapped again. Let's take a break. We're not coming back to this story, but let's take a break.
What a Friday. Trust me, if you have been with us on Jasiri, what a week it has been,
and I think a lot of people might be walking around with burdens on their hearts, heavy-headed, and they don't know what it is. And just even being a Nigerian is something that can weigh on you. Because even if you feel like your own life is okay, you're doing your own generator, you're okay. When you start hearing the stories, you start listening to the news, you just realize that you're internalizing subconsciously your mind and your body is dealing with it.
Anyway, if it's possible, let's just step away from some of the stories now. So much weighs on one's heart and spirit. But now let's just look into a story that has been trending on social media. An anonymous user shared a personal dilemma that's making people stop and think about love, family, and boundaries in relationships. Let's see, that's...
Okay, my fiance called off the engagement just because I told her to make peace with her dad before I can go ahead with the marriage. Her dad abandoned her and her siblings with the mom. I don't know if I'm asking for too much. Let's go to reactions first, because they are. I want to start with kids. Let us take reactions to this story. We just need to move away completely from politics and these. Okay, the father made a conscious decision to be absent, irrespective of what might have happened between a man and his wife. Do not let it affect the children. Take responsibility of your children. I don't know why you people are always asking for forgiveness for deadbeats.
Okay.
Clap it.
Next. She did well by breaking up the engagement. A grown man abandons his family and the onus is on a child to make amends. She deserves better than you. It's one thing to subtly suggest she tried to make peace with the father. It's another thing to use it as a condition for marriage. You're wicked. You're a wicked, manipulative person, just like her father. Good on her for calling it off. You basically took her trauma and pain, made it about you. Now, why would she want to spend the rest of her life with someone like that?
If you ask me.
Good for her. My God, the entitlement of some men is staggering. It's the single mother hating dudes that always have this mindset of forgiving the father for running away from his responsibilities while hating the one that stayed, probably because he'll do the same to her. You did right, to be honest, but then give her time, as some wounds are too deep to just heal. Also, if you love her, get involved with and in the whole process. Pause the engagement, but give her the time to process your request. It is both of you against the world now. Be there for her while guiding her through it. If she is stubborn and hell-bent on not doing it, you can let her go. Let's take one more. You did well. If she cannot forgive her father, it is a problem for you as a man when you marry her. Let her go. God will bring someone better. Two sides of this divide. Kids!
I'm sure the person that tweeted that said will not be able to forgive her father if that's the case. Because,
what do you think about this?
To be honest, I think she did the right thing, first off, maybe calling off the engagement and whatnot, because his manner of approach was too harsh.
Yeah.
You would have had a conversation. That's why I feel like we needed more context to that particular story, because what was the manner of approach? When you realize that, she does not have a relationship with her father and you want her to forgive her father before the marriage, but why the condition of if you are not going to forgive your father, I won't marry you? Why is that condition there? Because you could have a conversation with me and say, okay, babe, I understand that your dad did this. I believe that they must have had a conversation about it and he knows what happened between them. For the daddy to leave her and her sisters and the mom, you already have an idea of what it is. She's hurt, obviously, and she's probably not ready to let go of whatever happened between them. So have a conversation with her first, talk to her about, okay, I understand that this is happening, but what can we do to make sure that, okay, it's part of the family now, just forgive him. It is what it is.
Must he be
You
part of the
cannot replace-
family?
It doesn't even have to be. That's the thing.
So I
it
think
doesn't have to be part of the family.
So one thing that somebody said, and I believe it, that people who tend to have good relationships, good friendships, or even good relationship with their parents, they underestimate the impact for those who have not had what they had.
Yes.
And so you're always out here telling, oh, you only, somebody said, somebody, not the one we took, said, you only have one father, you have no choice but to forgive him. No, some wounds run deep.
Yes.
We don't know the impact. We don't know the things that could have happened to her and her siblings because he wasn't in the house, or because he wasn't involved. He wasn't giving money for upbringing, for raising the kids. And so for you to now tie, and I like the person who said, you took something that was a personal trauma and pain, you made it about yourself. If you want to marry me, you must forgive your. You go marry my father then. Go and marry
The
that.
entitlement, you know, the entitlement of some men and the audacity of it. And the fact that a man is laying this kind of things down for you now, you should know that in the marriage, it's going to be your word against his own. It's either his word is law, and that is final. So all this, the fact that she called off her engagement, honestly, for me, it shows that she has a good head.
And she has boundaries.
And she has boundaries, and she actually is an assertive person that knows exactly what she wants and the lines that she would not cross. The fact that marriage, a lot of people forget that before you're a couple, you are individuals with different kinds of things that have made up your individuality before you got to this point of marriage. So when I hear that nonsense that people say that marriage completes you,
it complements.
It complements you. That means if you're telling me that it's completing you, that means you were broken. So two halfway broken things come to
coming together. This lie that women have been sold.
I'm telling you, and I'm like,
because we don't tell men that women complete them.
Please, if you are a wholesome person and you come to a marriage to be with another wholesome person, you form a different new species, never to be seen before.
A new unit.
So it's not like two broken cups that you are using glue or a Vo stick to keep together.
That guy is just, there's something fundamentally wrong with him, and I say that, I say that with.
He can't comprehend a situation in which the father is not in somebody's life and probably playing the daddy role, the father role.
I don't even think it's comprehension at this point, right? Because
why is it a condition?
Because why is it a condition? That's number one. But again, number two is he was away not just in her own life but her siblings.
Yeah.
So and then that means there's trauma there for her mother. There's a lot of pain which is going to by marriage, that woman becomes your mother-in-law, right? And you don't even know the backstory of it, but you now decided that since I'm marrying you, since I'm doing you a favor
by
marrying you,
yeah.
Which, because when you marry, that means you already have taken you've married into this family. Then you now want to bring the source of their heartache and pain for years.
You know what? I also suspect some of this might be cultural because, as we understand, there's bride price, there's dowry, there's traditional rights. And he might be getting some questions and queries from his family as where is her father? It's not your place to explain. Like, her father's not present. She has a male person who's going to stand in. Because you see this thing a lot, where a lot of them will say, don't worry, they'll come. Because, especially when it comes to girl children, because there's lists to be given, there are rights to be done. But somebody that was gone, you didn't contribute anything, you now want to come and sit down and be doing father of the day.
Yeah, there's a girl I know that told her husband that the father died. He said her father is dead.
But the man is not
alive. So it was when she was pregnant with her first kid that the man now contacted the husband and said that he would at least like to meet the grandchild. So he now says, sorry, who are you? And then so finally they now brought family meeting. The mother said, I don't know this man. I've never met this man. The man who gave birth to my child and impregnated me is dead. Oh, who are you? Are you from the...
All right. Wow. It has been a heavy week for Nigeria, and it's sad to say that this is not unusual. Now, one thing we must not do is get used to these evil acts, these crimes that take people's lives and livelihoods. We must not become desensitized in the face of what is happening in Nigeria. While we pray for our country, we must demand action from our leaders, from the people who stood up and said, vote for me. We must demand change in this country, and we must keep using our voices and platforms to speak for those who cannot speak for themselves. It's said that the measure of any country is how it treats its weakest and most vulnerable. We have to look at ourselves and our leaders and ask, is this the best any of us, and even them, can do?
Good question.
I hope Monday we don't have any other bad updates.
Inshallah.
Oh.